Welcome to the Heal and Hustle podcast, where we dive into the business side of being a mental health professional. I'm Jere'My Rankins, licensed professional counselor, here to teach you the crucial skills we weren't taught in graduate school. Today we'll be discussing a number of things. The main topic that we'll be addressing is email marketing and relationship building. So I have talked about this before, but just recently I had came across a report and I conducted this evaluation for this particular client and I learned something from it and I wanted to share this with you all. So we're definitely going to get on that into that. That is the main topic. And I'm also going to be addressing the presidential election, Storm Burrow, and VAWA. So, I'm just going to hit on those key issues, but the main topic is going to be on the email marketing. First and foremost, let's talk about Storm Burrow. So it just hit the coast of the Gulf Coast of Mexico, that Houston, Padre Island, that, just that belt right there, Corpus Christi, Galveston, that area. And so, if you were hit by that storm, and you were hit badly, my heart goes out to you. Condolences to you all. I hope that you are safe, your families are safe, your homes are safe, because that could definitely be a hassle. So, I'm in South Texas. My home is in Houston, Texas. Um, and I don't know what the status is of the house. We have a really weak fence, and we're kind of worried that fence it blew over, or it's going to fall down, or it fell down. So we're kind of worried about that. But we looked at the Ring doorbell out the front of the home, and the gusts were so strong they blew the Ring doorbell off the mount that we have, and so we're looking at our tree in the front yard blowing side to side. So we know that the storm definitely hit. The winds were strong, and so I hope everybody is safe who is under the sound of my breath. So okay, so let's talk about this presidential election. Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. So I just want to coat this over really quick. And the reason for that is because a lot of you who are listening to this podcast are kind of trickling in from the other platforms that I have, which would be on Facebook or on LinkedIn. On Facebook, I have a community of those who are learning about immigration evaluation, psychological evaluation. So, when I talk about the current administration, or the election drama that's happening, it directly correlates with immigration. Unfortunately, it's a very political issue. So if you haven't heard, I'm gonna give you some context, you all. If you haven't heard, there was a 12-year-old girl, and you can Google this right now. You can look it up. There's a 12-year-old girl. I should put a link. I need to find it, but you know what? Let me post that. So there's a 12-year-old girl who is unalived in Houston, Texas, and it's funny because I live in a fairly good neighborhood. I live in a fairly good community, but about 3 miles down the road is the absolute hood. It is the ghetto. It is the streets. Bang bang, shoot 'em up, drug dealing at the corner store. And again, let me remind you, I live in a very, very nice area. But that is just Houston for you. The zoning is trash. And so I say all that to tell you that girl was unalived 3 miles down the street from where I live. Right down the street. And I had passed by her memorial where she was unalived. I passed by there a few times on my way to my office yesterday, or I'm sorry, a couple of days ago. So I'm gonna get to the point. Let me go ahead and land. So she was unalived by two men who were undocumented immigrants from El Salvador, Venezuela, El Salvador, I believe. And at her funeral, you had some very high prestigious people in the political community, quote unquote, showing their support. And they're not doing it now, Her name is Jocelyn, by the way. So they're not doing it now, but they're getting ready to ramp it up so use it for political purposes. You have this young girl who was 12 years old. She's a cute kid, and she was unalived by these two undocumented immigrants. Can you these illegal aliens? Can you imagine how that story is going to be used? Can you just imagine how that story is going to be used to the advantage of these politicians? So, bringing it back to the topic on why is it so important to kind of focus on this election, and is because it can definitely pertain to our mental health profession, our profession, and especially if you are offering services to the global community, like we do in my private practice. So, um, you know, it, I watched the debate a couple of weeks ago, I believe. I watched the first debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and we all need to understand why this happened, why this came to play, why did this, how can I say it, how did this standoff happen in the first place? Because both of them are neck to neck in the polls, and they're trying to pull away from each other. So how do they pull away from each other? They need to make sure that they stand out. And so how they decided to come together and figure out who's going to stand out? Well, they had a debate. They had a debate. And guess what? Donald Trump came out on top of that debate. And as a result, Joe Biden is playing catch up. He's trying to revitalize. He's trying to bring back his run alive, and he really took a hit in that debate. And what he tried to do in an attempt to gain back the trust and the loyalty of those Democrats and other voters that may be swinging, what he did was he went on ABC News. He went on ABC News, and he sat down with someone, and he tried to justify or explain himself. He did damage control. He had to do damage control. And in his efforts, that didn't succeed. He came out very arrogant. And so, I say all this to tell you that it just doesn't look good for the home team. Home team meaning Joe Biden. I had did a video. If you haven't looked at it, check it out. It's on my TikTok. It's on my Instagrams, my social media, and I talks about how Donald Trump doesn't have to do anything for the remainder of his campaign and this election run. He doesn't have to do anything. Just allow Joe Biden to shoot himself in the foot. And really, that's all Donald Trump has got to do to win this next election. The ramifications of Donald Trump winning this election for immigration is huge. And the reason why I say that is because, he is strong on the border. We know that he, stands firm in those conservative values on the border. And so there's going to be big changes. We thought that it was, for those who do, or in the immigration world, it's already difficult for those who are seeking asylum. Joe Biden just had passed some executive orders to make it a little bit more difficult for asylum seekers. Just imagine when Donald Trump gets back into office and what he's going to do to make it that much more difficult for those who are seeking legal status here in the United States of America. So it's just keeping up with some of these things. It can be daunting, but just thinking about how much the political climate, the realm, the changes can make on our career, not just the lives of those immigrants who are impacted, infected, but also us who are providing services to those immigrants. There's a lot that goes into this. So there's levels to this ish. So yeah, so that's the presidential election. I want to move on for those. I'm going to break this into segments. Hopefully, I can chop it up to where It's in chunks, and so you can listen to the parts that interest you most. But in doing so, I wanted to share with you all that I had posted a kind of like a pop quiz, and I had posted the pop quiz with buttons and pushing stuff and just messing with things. So I do apologize. But anyway, so I had posted a video on or a quiz, I should say, on the Facebook group about VAWA. So it was a vignette of a man named Jason who was dating a transgender woman. And so he's dating this woman, and in this relationship, he's experiencing domestic violence, where the domestic violence isn't physical, but it's more so emotional. He's getting threatened. He's getting, like Jason is undocumented, and the person he's in this relationship with is a citizen, U.S. citizen. And so this U.S. citizen says, "Hey, listen, if you leave me, I'm gonna tell them that I'm gonna tell ICE. I'm gonna tell Immigration Custom and Enforcement Agency. I'm gonna tell ICE to come get you. I'm gonna get you deported. If you go anywhere, if you leave me." And so, all that is emotional abuse. We know that those threats, that power dynamic, and it's being flexed. And so, there's lots of domestic emotional abuse happening in the home. And so I put the quiz. What is this type of case? Is it a U visa where you're a victim of a crime, which domestic violence can be? Um, uh, what is it, a T visa? Is it asylum, or is it U visa? Is this a good immigration case at all? And I got different answers. I got no, because there's no physical violence. I got VAWA. I think there was like there's several votes. 30% went to U visa, and so the correct response was VAWA. And the reason why I created this vignette was because I wanted to show that VAWA, Victims Against Women's Act, not only pertains to women, but men as well. And then it also pertains to those who are not just physically abused, but suffer severe emotional abuse. And so that's what we saw in this vignette that I posted in your guide to immigration evaluations. If you're a licensed clinician interested in doing immigration evaluations or providing services to the global community, your guide to immigration evaluations is probably the best place to start. So we had, I had allowed about a week and a half for clinicians to provide insight, value, their thoughts, their points of views before I put the final post on there about what it means to suffer or apply for VAWA and the different ways in which people can qualify. Now, I'm not a legal expert. I'm not an immigration lawyer, although, I know plenty about immigration law. That's just not my lane. My focus is just to educate those clinicians about the basic understanding of these immigration applications. And so that's why it's so important for me to keep you all abreast on what's happening as far as immigration updates, laws, and also this here on the different types of applications. Okay, if you all are ready, we can actually move on to the meat and potatoes of this conversation, this discussion, and that is email marketing and relationship building. I want to play this video. Ah, man, I forgot to play. I really want to play this video, and I'm not too sure. Yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna post a link to the TikTok video that I had posted, and I'm gonna share that with you all. So if you're watching the replay on Clubhouse, you have access to this video. And if you are on YouTube listening to the podcast, I'm gonna do you a solid. Uh-oh. I'm gonna do you a solid, and I'm also going to put that link in the description of this video. Please be sure to watch this video. It is a visual of the email that I sent out, and I'm going to share it with you all in just one moment. As soon as I find it here. Okay, here we go. It's probably going to play in the background. Y'all give me a second. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so I'm taking this time. I'm so sorry to pin this in Clubhouse, so those who are watching on Clubhouse can have that visual and be able to reference that. So basically, I had someone who reached out to me, inquired about my services on through Google search. They looked up immigration psychological evaluation near me or in this area, and I populated. That is the power of Google. And so it was a reminder for me to optimize my Google profile, business profile, and I did so. I made some updates. I took some pictures and things of that nature. Y'all go ahead and check it out. Minor to Major LLC on Google, and feel free to drop me a positive review if you're getting any value of this out of this podcast. So I had I decided to do this evaluation for two reasons. One, I felt like it was a little bit more challenging for those who are not as qualified. And then the other reason why was because I received this referral from a law firm that I was not familiar with. I should say that the law firm had said, "Hey, look, you need to get a psychological evaluation." I guess they told her how to reach out to a licensed mental health professional who does these psych evals, and she went on and did it herself. But my thinking is this is what was told to me through my client. So this is my thinking. My thinking is I need to go to that law firm and let them know that I exist. I need to say I am here to service this community. This is something that I specialize in my private practice. We can help. So if you have anybody in the future who needs a psych eval, a psychological immigration evaluation, go ahead and think of us. And so, what better way to do that than complete the report? I send it via email and fax to the office. And this is the email that I sent. And again, this is not to the attorney, this is to the office, okay? Administration paralegal. Please review the attached document for a client of yours. If you would like to review the case with me, I can be reached at the number below during the blah 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 hours, blah blah blah. A fax was also submitted and the transaction was successful for this document. So I had let them know that, along with this email, I sent a fax and when it was sent off, Friday, June 28th, blah, 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 at this time. Here is the beef, okay? This is the first introduction to me building rapport, crossing the bridge. So there was a large lake between us, and we are on two different sides. How do I cross that lake safely and build a relationship, connect with these people? This is the bridge. I would also like to come by the Woodlands office to introduce myself and bring some goodies for the immigration department. Now, notice how I didn't say anything about the whole law firm. Law firm could be servicing personal injury. They could have a large department of personal injury. They could do corporate law. They could do real estate law. They could do all types of things, criminal law and immigration. I'm not trying to bring cupcakes for the whole law firm. Okay, I don't, I don't want to commit to that. Just the immigration department. That is who we want to build rapport with. That is where our relationships are going to be most valued. It's in the immigration department. So what I did was I went further. I said, this introduction is very brief as I know how valuable your work and your time is. Please speak to leadership to see how we can schedule a day and a time that works best for us all. Now, when I talk about leadership, I'm talking about the immigration lawyer, the person handling these immigration cases. Speak to them about how I can come and introduce myself to you all. That is the leadership that I'm referencing, but I don't say that. Okay. I want everybody who is in the email, who sees that email, to understand I value them. They have an important role. But the leadership are the people who make decisions. And that is who I am instructing them to go back to speak about me and how I can come to their office. Okay? So let me rewind. My client comes in and says, hey, this is my lawyer, or this is their office. This is who I went with. They give me a release of information to talk to their office, reach out to their office, communicate with them. After I complete the report, if I don't have any questions for the attorney, after I complete or the paralegal, once I complete that report and I submit the document, I follow up with an email to them saying, "Hey, here's the report, or I submitted the report. I would like to come and meet you all. I would like to come into your office and drop off my business card and just introduce myself." This is business. This is marketing. When you say that you have your own private practice, these are some of the things that we have to do to grow that private practice. When I first started in 2020, I wanted to have $100,000 business. And then I got to $100,000. I said, this is not no money. I don't know if it was inflation, I don't know if it was COVID-19. I don't know what it was, but I quickly realized that $100,000 business is no money, especially when it's not 100% profit, and it's not going to be. You need a $250,000, $300,000 business, profitable business, and this is in the state of Texas, not California. This is in the state of Texas, to really be living the lifestyle, the financial freedom that a lot of us are seeking. And so, to meet that level, to get there, we have to do some of this work, this legwork, this marketing. We have to do some of these things to get to where we want to be in our business. I hope that that I hope that that really helped those who are really motivated to do immigration evaluations, those who are motivated to get more referrals, more leads. I hope that really helped you, because that was just one more nugget that I gave as far as it pertains to gaining more leads in this niche of immigration evaluations. I have a section in my course to where I talk about how you can gain more leads, marketing, all that other stuff. But I've got other resources in my YouTube, in my TikTok, in my Facebook group that tell you how you can get more referrals. But at the end of the day, you have to do the legwork. You have to do these things. I tell you what to do. You have to use your imagination and your unique talents and value that you bring to the table to optimize the things that I am telling you to do to get more clients, to get more leads. I give you all these strategies, these tools, these techniques, these tips. They work, people. They work. They absolutely work. The question is, do you have the zeal and the motivation to follow through with it? Do you have the motivation to turn your side hustle into a lucrative business? That is the question. Many of you are 1099s. Many of you have a full-time job and private practice is your side hustle. It's always going to be your side hustle until you turn it into your main hustle. It's always going to be side money. It's always going to be that way. Until a COVID-19 comes, you lose your job, and you're fending for money, and you've got to do something with your life. Oh, I've got to make this work. And you start the hustling when you're in crisis mode. And I mean, that's a lot. That's how a lot of us function. That's how a lot of us function. But if you don't want to function in that manner and you want to grow a lucrative business, continue to watch this podcast. I'm going to continue to drop these gems and provide value week in and week out. And I want you to do me a solid and follow. If you're a first time listener to this podcast, and this is the first time that you have been introduced to me, any of the topics that I dropped today about immigration, the law, qualifications, and immigration evaluations, if that is something that interests you, I want to make sure that you give me a follow. If growing a private practice is something that interests you, give me a follow, give me a like, Digital currency goes a long way. Thank you for listening.